Money FM 89.3, the best of the afternoon update.
Money FM 89.3, I'm Lynn Lee, keeping you company through your workday afternoon. Now, speaking of work, we all use the computer to do many tasks, from replying emails, creating documents, reports, scheduling meetings, to analyzing data and managing projects. Well, recently, top executives from leading AI companies, including Google, Microsoft, and OpenAI, have all predicted that a new generation of digital helpers termed AI agents will completely change how people interact with computers. I think just yesterday, Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, wrote in a blog post, and this is what he said, and I quote, "We believe that in 2025 we may see the first AI agents join the workforce and materially change the output of companies," unquote. Now, if my memory serves me correctly, he's also said on another occasion that people will ask an agent to do something for them, something that would probably take a month for a human being to do it, and the agent will finish that in an hour. Amazing. Well, Altman and others are predicting that the technology is set to be a major focus of the industry in 2025. Consultancy firms, too, are singing the same tune. According to Deloitte, by 2027, half of companies that use Gen AI will have launched agentic AI, also known as an AI agent. So with businesses expected to transition from experimentation to full-scale AI implementation, how will these AI agents transform industries? What are the trends in this space that you need to know? Are there any risks that come with the deployment of AI agents? I'm really excited to introduce my guest today, who will help us understand the rise of AI agents. Here's Gavin Barfield, Chief Technology Officer and VP of Solution Engineering for ASEAN at software company Salesforce. Welcome, Gavin.
Good afternoon. Pleasure to speak to you all.
Great to have you on the show, Gavin. Now, I understand that autonomous agents, more commonly known as AI agents, are becoming so popular that recent research has found that 75% of organizations are looking to use AI agents in software development. You're the CTO with Salesforce, and you live in a world of software. So let's start with the basics. Correct me if I'm wrong, but AI agents are basically a software program that can interact with its environment, collect data, and use the data to perform tasks on behalf of a user or another system. Correct?
That's right. I mean, I think I agree, with what Sam Altman's saying. This year, 2025, will be the year that we'll see, agentic AI and agents really hit the scene. And I think this is a monumental step forward in AI and in technology in general. These AI agents will transform the way we work. And this may sound dramatic, but I truly believe that these are going to be unlocking, huge amounts of potential productivity for businesses and really give businesses the ability to really reimagine the way they sell, they market, and that they serve their customers. If you look at Gen AI, the current generation, the second generation of Gen AI, has been useful, I would say, but has often failed to hit the mark because it doesn't actually do the work. It's been useful like an assistant to give you some information, help you draft an email, help you draft a response. Mm-hmm. But AI agents will be autonomous, so they can work without human intervention. They'll be 24/7, and they'll be able to do tasks, actually get work done, and not just be a sort of assistant to you. And I think that's going to transform businesses.
So are these AI tools the latest and greatest in the software industry?
It's the third generation of AI evolution. We started off with predictive analytics and predictive AI, and Salesforce actually does around 2 trillion predictions per week on our platform. So already, that predictive AI, where you look at the past and you try and drive what's going to happen in the future by using past data, is already at scale. The second generation was around generative AI, so actually creating content. And we've seen, products come in, the ChatGPTs of the world coming in sort of 18 months, 2 years ago, has really accelerated that. This is the third wave of Gen AI and brings together a number of those components, the predictive AI, the generative AI, but also brings together things like XLAM models, which is reasoning engine. So the ability for AI not just to generate content, but to be able to understand what skills it can do and to reason and come up with an action plan and execute an action plan, very similar to how we work as humans.
Okay, Gavin, maybe you can help us contextualize this a little bit more. How are industries or companies using AI agents, and what are some of the top use cases, or should I say, who are the early adopters of AI agents?
I think use cases, we've recently launched sales agents. We've launched sales out-of-the-box agents. If you think about a lot of the work that salespeople do, a lot of it is sort of unqualified leads. They spend a lot of time answering very simple questions back and forth with customers in order to qualify leads. That takes a lot of time away from them actually focusing on the high-quality leads that are likely to convert. So AI agents could, do that business development activity, have those early interactions with customers, qualify the lead, and then pass it across to a human. It's really about humans and agents working together. You could have a sales assistant. So as you're in a sales call and you're going through, talking to a customer, you've got an AI agent who's able to bring all that institutional knowledge and give you suggestions on how to handle, objections or how to pitch a particular product or how to explain a particular customer query. That's on the sales side. Customer service is massive. And I think, we've all had those terrible customer service experiences. I even had the same on the weekend, I have to admit. Those chatbots, I can't see your face, but I'm sure you're smiling. Those chatbots, where you ask that question, can you rephrase it for me? Choose from one of 3 or 4 options. None of them are relevant. You keep going through again and again. You keep going back to the same menu and, get very frustrated with that chatbot experience that we've all got very used to. AI agents will totally transform that by being able to talk to you in natural language and have access to be able to do things to actually resolve the problem that you're trying to face.
Okay, sounds like a good thing, isn't it? The ability to tie technology to, I think a reduction in the number of hours people have to work.
It is. I think if you look at a survey, around 40% of the work that we do as humans is unproductive or low-value task, I should say. So we're doing those low-value tasks. You think about what many customer service teams do. I want a refund. I have a problem with my, particular booking or my ticket or whatever it might be, or I have a technical service issue. I need a password reset. All of these things are low-value tasks that humans are taking a lot of our time to do. AI agents will be able to handle those tasks for you, thus freeing up humans to be able to do much more high-value tasks. And we're seeing this, you mentioned customers, we're seeing this with some early adopters. Saks Fifth Avenue in the US is now adopting our Agentforce product to be able to handle customer refunds and to be able to handle shipping inquiries, all automated without the need for humans. But using natural language, no more press 1, press 2. We can respond to you in the same way as a human can, even make product recommendations. Companies like Heathrow Airport, Wiley, and Remarkable are some of the early adopters who have seen some really incredible results implementing some of these agents. Wiley, for example, saw that their old chatbots outperformed by Agentforce by over 40%. So major sort of productivity boosts that are happening from these agents, even in the early stages.
Gavin, I'm curious to know, what about the financial sector? How are AI agents, playing a part there?
There's a tremendous opportunity, I think, across banking, across insurance. You take insurance as an example. Insurance is complicated. Many policies have, long 20-page PDF documents describing all the conditions, all the terms. There's many complicated products. With something like AI agents, you can use technologies like RAG to bring in unstructured data so you can get access to all of your policies, procedures, and that becomes a huge knowledge base for the company. And what I've found, and I'm sure you're the same, is depending on the experience of maybe your representative you speak to in the bank or insurance company, depends on the quality of customer service you get. If you talk to a very experienced person, they know the products, they know all of the different terms and conditions, they can really help you choose the right one. If you select a sort of a less experienced person, they may only recommend what they know, or they may have gaps in their knowledge that they have to keep looking things up. But if you're able to bring all of this knowledge into an agent, that becomes your expert employee straight from day one. So I think for insurance companies, for financial services, tremendous opportunities to really streamline operations, introduce some operation savings, and most importantly, up-level the customer service that they can offer.
Wow, fascinating. It does seem that AI agents hold a huge promise. But to me, it sounds like for AI agents to be powerful and personal, wouldn't that mean that significant data access would be needed? So I'm thinking security, I'm thinking privacy concerns. What's your approach to that?
Well, data is critically important. If you look at some of the sort of, I would say, failed AI projects that have happened in the second wave of Gen AI, a lot of that has been failed because of sort of 3 key reasons. One, these things have not been in the flow of work, so you haven't been able to use AI where work happens. It's been a separate app you jump to. Secondly, as I mentioned, they don't take action, so they're just being providing some advice, but a real person has to do it. And most importantly, they haven't been grounded on trusted data. And if you don't ground things on trusted data and you don't have trust, then how can you push that out to customers? How can customer service representatives, actually send something to a customer if they cannot verify that it's come from a trusted source? So to us, AI and data go hand in hand, and that's why together with Agentforce is our data cloud, which brings together loads of different data sources around your organization, because data is in different silos in the companies. You can bring all that together to create that complete customer 360 view, and you can use zero copy and other methodologies to do that. So you have that one consistent, trusted view of your customer, and then you have the trusted customer data, your policies and procedures. Together, that goes into the AI to create that trusted AI. And you need that trusted data to be able to offer trusted AI. If the data behind it isn't trusted, then the results are not going to be trusted. And on security, it's also important with these agents to put the right guardrails in place. So as part of Agentforce, they're always supervised by a human. Humans can see what the agents are doing. They have guardrails in place to make sure that they keep within the scope of what they're doing. And grounding on trusted information is critical to be able to build that trust with AI agents out to customers.
Okay, it's just unclear to me how these sort of issues, could be fixed, I suppose, because it does carry with it some amount of risk.
I think that if you look at a couple of risks, one would be the risk of hallucination. So how do you make sure that AI agents actually don't make things up? And one of the challenges with AI has been that AI, because of its nature, actually hallucinates and makes up things that are not true. The way to be able to handle that is through proper grounding of data, grounding the prompt on data and making sure that you're utilizing data from those trusted sources and not necessarily using internet or public data, which you have no control over. So it's important to make sure that your agents have that solid, grounded data foundation to reduce risks of hallucination and bias that are inherent in these large language models, because they have been built from sometimes dubious sources across the internet. You need to make sure that you ground it in the right data so that you get a trusted response and don't just rely on the model itself to come up with the answer.
Okay, that aside, I'm pretty sure people will indeed want to use AI agents for work and personal tasks and probably pay for them willingly. What are you seeing? What's your outlook on this?
I think many customers are talking to us not just about how this affects the bottom line. It's about how it creates a new level of customer experience. So we have this sort of concept of really talking about the limitless workforce. The way customer service, the way marketing, the way sales has always been developed is with constraints. You're constrained by the number of people that you can put in certain departments. You're constrained by the number of customer service agents, partly by cost, partly by skills. What customers are looking to is not just on how do I manage to save on the bottom line, but how do I utilize this highly scalable, limitless workforce to create a completely different customer experience than what I can do with humans. So how can humans and agents work together to really reform the way that I offer an experience? For example, you take an airline. You have to self-serve because it's not feasible for an airline to have an intimate conversation with every passenger before every single flight to talk to them about their needs, what seat they would like, what baggage, what food they would like. You can't scale to that level when you're handling millions of customers. But if you've got a limitless workforce with agents, you could transform that experience into a highly personalized, concierge type of conversation more than a self-service, because you're no longer constrained by the number of physical humans that you can put on a job order that you can afford to hire.
Okay, fast forward to maybe end of 2025. How big is this going to get, Gavin?
I honestly think this is one of the bigger technology transformations of the generation. I think we'll look back on this and we will see a monumental shift in the way everything works. The next stage is really around robotics and around how do you actually push these agents out to people, whether this is through avatars or whether this is through physical robotics. But I really think within the next year and few years, we're going to start seeing many organizations really implementing agents to handle a large and significant amount of the tasks that they do. And critically, you're going to see humans and agents really working together. It's not having an agent replacing a human, it's how do agents augment humans. So, if you're doing a piece of research, how do I have an agent with me who can go ahead and do some, stuff on the side, come back to me with an answer? How do I have an agent within my customer service center that can do outbound reaching out to customers or can handle certain inbound calls? How do I then seamlessly pass that across? So I think what we'll see is really agents and humans really working together, over the years, and those agents taking on a lot of those tasks that take human time away from higher value stuff.
Exciting stuff, Gavin. Thank you so much for your insights into AI agents, the world of AI agents, and the potential as well as the risks. Gavin Barfield, the Chief Technology Officer and VP of Solution Engineering for ASEAN at software company Salesforce. Thanks, Gavin.
Thank you.
To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.